WROL. It means without the rule of law, anarchy, the end of civilization. Coming soon to an America near you.
America can't collapse. We're as powerful as ancient Rome.
Homer, meet the Springfield Preppers. What would you do in the case of an EMP?
Electromagnetic pulse.
A burst of radiation that knocks out every electrical system in the country.
Impending doom.
What you reading, Dad?
Honey, everything's fine. There's nothing to worry about.
When things go south, the sheeple will clean out every supermarket in town.
Typical sheeple. So, what have you learned so far from our post-apocalyptic movie marathon?
Guys who call themselves preacher or deacon are very bad. Water is money, unless gasoline is money, and even though lots of things are razor sharp, no one ever shaves.
Hollywood has taught you well, my son.
Here it is, Homer. The Springfield Preppers' top-secret bug-out retreat.
Wow! Your end of the world is better than my during the world.
Homer, we all know America's collapse is about 3 months away.
6 weeks at most.
There's always one alarmist. Anyway, when the Four Horsemen ride, we want you and your collaterals right here with us.
An EMP?
You know what that means?
Hand scissors.
Millions may be waking up to the depopulation agenda. It still continues, unhindered. With the war in Ukraine needlessly escalating, with no peace talks being considered at all, it is evident that the Judas goats and their bureaucrat minions think they can kill us all and evade justice for their crimes against humanity. It appears that the United States has sabotaged Russia's Nord Stream 2 fuel pipeline, an act of war reminiscent of the Berlin-Baghdad railway conflict that helped ignite World War I. Early this week, Russia's infamous Doomsday submarine, capable of creating a radioactive tsunami, reportedly disappeared from its base and was spotted days later while operating on the Arctic surface. Photographs in the city of Belgorod appear to show the deployment of the Peresvet mobile laser system, which renders an area invisible to enemy surveillance by blinding surrounding satellites, allowing Russia to secretly mobilize and attack. Retired Brigadier General Kimmett says nukes are on the table.
Look, I think it's fairly simple to lay down the options. It could be the soft side of it, which is doubling down on sanctions, doubling down on export controls, ranging all the way to a nuclear response of our own and everything in between.
Wow. Zelensky says that NATO must preemptively launch nuclear weapons against Russia as a warning. And unhinged Hollywood activist Sean Penn agrees with him.
Well, even countries that have nuclear weapons can remain intimidated to use them, and we're seeing that now with our own country. And I fear what that legacy is going to be. No one wants to see a nuclear conflict.
I don't want to see one.
Nobody. At the same time, if only one bully is going to be able to use those weapons as a threat, we got to rethink what we're doing.
The lunatics in charge are buying up underground bunkers and anti-radiation drugs in hopes they will survive the mass culling agenda that continues on.
Facing a food pricing problem in 2022 that's created havoc around the world. Well, if we don't get on top of this thing quickly, and I don't mean next year, I mean this year, you will have a food availability problem in 2023, and that's going to be hell on. We're looking at an $11 billion shortfall of food production inside Africa alone. Now, I could go to Central America, South America, same issues on droughts. India, devastated by heat and drought, and it could go on and on. We were able to avert famine in the last couple of years as I went to the leaders of the world, said if you don't respond, you will have catastrophe on catastrophe, is particularly in the height of COVID. And the leaders did respond. We averted famine. But then Ukraine comes on, shutting down the breadbasket of the world that produces enough food to feed 400 million people.
Now, Xi Jinping may be preparing for his coronation, but like all leaders, all world leaders, he faces a challenging period ahead. Why do I say that? Because a recession is around the corner. A few months back, we were discussing the possibility of a recession, and now the topic has changed. It's not a question of if there will be a recession, it's a question of how deep will it be. Let me now show you some of the warning signs. Number 1, top corporate leaders are already bracing for the worst. Consulting firm KPMG polled 400 business leaders in the United States. 91% of them are predicting a recession. Only 34% expect it to be mild and short. The rest, almost 66%, are predicting a longish one, a long recession at that. Now, business leaders are well placed to make these forecasts. They track the job market. They know all about debt and investments, and right now they are predicting a painful recession. Number 1, the world is headed towards a recession and prolonged stagnation. Number 2, the looming crisis could be worse than the 2008 recession. Number 3, this crisis is the result of bad policy and misplaced political will. Number 4, developing countries will face the brunt of it, especially those in Latin America and Africa. The report also mentions some numbers. The global economic growth is expected to fall to 2.5% in 2022 and 2.2% in 2023. The slowdown could cost us 20% of global income. That's around $17 trillion. Next up is the debt crisis. 60% of all low-income countries are almost in debt distress, plus 30% of emerging market countries. These governments do not have the money to service their debt, and if things get worse, you could be looking at more Sri Lankas. Adding to their misery is, of course, the dollar. Currencies in 90 developing countries have weakened against the dollar, meaning their imports are more expensive. They are spending more dollars to buy food, fuel, and fertilizers, which means they are burning through their reserves. Not an ideal situation at all.